Hi, Romulus employees. So I'm here today with another sponsorship opportunity for you all, and this is Pam. I'm going to let her introduce herself, tell you a little bit about what she does, and a little bit about your opportunities and the program that they have with the Challenge Foundation and at All Saints in general. And so, yeah, I'll let you take it. Welcome, Pam.
Thanks,
Hi.
Sophia. I'm Pam Francoul. I'm the Executive Director for the Challenge Foundation in Phoenix. And our program aims to offer scholarship opportunities for students to attend some of the premier schools in Central Phoenix. Our support starts in 5th grade, but stays with families all the way until the child graduates from college. So a 12-year journey that we're offering for folks to look into.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a lot of support. So if you have students who especially are in like 3rd, 4th grade, really great time to perk your ears up and check this out. Is that correct?
Yes. So we are looking at students typically during their 4th grade year is when our evaluation period, our application period takes place. And then those students who are selected into our program would start the summer before 5th grade. There's a whole application process. It can feel a little intimidating, but our goal in that process is to get to know your child and your family really well because it's a 12-year journey. So we want to make sure that we understand who each other are and what our priorities are and that all of that aligns ultimately for the success of your son or daughter.
And tell me a little bit about the application process. When should people kind of look for more information? What month does that application process start for these 4th graders?
Sure. We accept applications anytime, usually from November 1st until the middle to the end of January every year. And so you would get in touch with us through Sophia, and we would disseminate the application packet. There's a portion for the student to complete. There's also a portion for the parents to complete. And then we get a lot of information from the school. We want to make sure that we're selecting students who have the academic ability to be successful in these really challenging academic environments. We don't want to set anyone up for failure. We're looking for students who can be the most successful. And so in our application process, once we get those documents back, then we would actually make a visit to your home. And so we would come and meet everyone in the family, get to know you a little bit better. And if it all looks good at that point, then we invite the students to come to All Saints and participate in their application process, which means spending a day at the school, taking some admission tests, and really getting a sense for who they are as a student. Our final decisions are not usually made until the beginning of May. So it is a long process, and we ask that you bear with us and be patient, but we'll get there.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so tell me a little bit about the students and families, essentially, that are good candidates, both in terms of location, maybe where they need to be able to get their students to, and what kind of students are typically really successful in this program.
Sure. Okay, so the All Saints Episcopal Day School is located basically at Central and Bethany Home, and there is no transportation offered through the school. So parents need to be able to transport their child to and from school on a daily basis. So that's step one, is to make sure you can manage that transportation expectation. And then in terms of what we're looking for in a student and a family would be sort of fundamentally that education is a priority. So students who have a strong work ethic, have seen some success in school already, parents who are engaged in their child's education. So if you're someone who is able to or has the desire at least to volunteer at your child's school, participate in parent-teacher conferences. Those are good indications to us that there's strong buy-in and support from the families. The schools that the kids are attending through the Challenge Foundation are intense sometimes, can be kind of a leap, and so to make sure that that family support is present is really key for the child's success. We do a lot of support services for the kids in terms of making sure they have a quiet place to do study time and getting them access to technology or the internet if they need that in order to complete their assignments. We can do a lot of that support piece, but when it comes down to, no, I don't want to do my homework, I want to play basketball, we need to make sure that parents are going to step in and say, I understand you want to play basketball, but homework comes first.
Sure. And then tell me a little bit more about what you mean in terms of a student who's a good fit. Like, so if I'm a parent, are you looking for A students? Are you looking for, grit, somebody who loves to learn? What typically are things that parents need to know or understand about their student in understanding that this is a big process and intense schooling, but the payoff is 12 years of educational support?
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about that.
So we're looking at students who are at least working at grade level. If they're working up above grade level, that's also great, but at least at grade level. We, in the application process, will review academic test scores, so their standardized test. We do a reading assessment often with our students early on just to gauge where they're at. So a student with A's is fantastic. A student with B's who works really hard might even be a little bit better, because that work ethic is what we have seen over the years is really the biggest indication of success in the kids. If you're willing to work hard, you can accomplish nearly anything. So we are looking to evaluate that. Attendance at school is key as well. So that tells us not only the students buy into their own education, but the parents. If you're making sure that your child is only staying home when they have a fever or something significant with the family, then that's an indication also that we look at for how committed the family is to their child's education. So I think, does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then tell us a little bit about this journey. So I'm a 5th grader. I start at All Saints. What does the rest of my 12 years look like from a schooling or an academic perspective? Where do I go? What do I do?
Sure. So we start the kids the summer before 5th grade so that they have an opportunity to get familiar with the school campus. It's a big shift to come to a new school at that particular age. At All Saints, the middle school starts in 5th grade, so they are not the only new student to come, which is nice also. But they spend the summer on campus for a month, taking some academic classes and some fun classes, like basketball, or this year some of them took a photography class. So there's all sorts of things, piano. So the summer is about getting acclimated to the school campus. So 5th through 8th grade, the students attend All Saints. And each summer there are activities to help the kids stay engaged and learning, even when they're not in school. And then they will attend one of our partner high schools. So in Phoenix, our partner high schools are Xavier College Prep, Brophy College Prep, and Phoenix Country Day School. The tuition for all of the schools from 5th grade through 12th grade is covered by the foundation. So families don't need to worry about tuition costs or uniform costs or books or school supplies. All of that is wrapped up in the support that we provide the students. So they will select one of those 3 partner high schools. And then for college, the students can apply anywhere they'd like. The support from Challenge includes identifying universities that will fit the child's needs and helping to assist with the financial aid process for college as well. So to make sure that by the time the kids graduate from college, they might have a car payment in terms of student loans, but not a mortgage payment. Really trying to make sure they aren't burdened by debt when they graduate from college. So
that's amazing. Okay, so all of these schools and all of these opportunities are located in Central Phoenix-ish, which is great location-wise. And you mentioned in your previous, I guess, answer that all tuition costs and things like uniforms, books, everything is covered. So these families can get their kids the best educations that Phoenix has to offer at no cost. That's correct?
Yes. We ask families to make a small contribution to each of the schools every year, just as a gesture of gratitude. The family determines how much that is. Some families give $1 and some families give more, but it's about contributing to the community that we're part of. Outside of that expectation, everything is covered for the family. So
that's amazing.
Yeah.
And I know you said that willingness to be an active participant in the child's education is important. What if you don't have time to volunteer, or you're apprehensive to apply because you feel like you might not have time to dedicate to this? Are you really looking for the home piece, or what kind of family is a good fit?
I think a family that values education, that a family that has hopes and aspirations of their child going to college but isn't entirely sure they can afford it, or that they understand the path to get their child to and through college. Those are the families that I think are best served by the Challenge Foundation. So if you have dreams of going to college, if your child has dreams of going to college, then this is a good path for you to explore. I think it's important to note that in addition to the tuition scholarships and the academic support, the Challenge Foundation understands that the families we are serving are lower income families. They're hardworking families, but at the end of the month, sometimes the finances don't always make sense. And they would not be able to afford then education at All Saints or one of our other partner schools necessarily on their own without some assistance. And so in recognizing that, we as an organization commit to supporting the family in whatever way we can, so that if there's a crisis within the family, we try to step in with some resources to help through that time. We want the priority and the focus to be on the child's education and to try to reduce other stress factors to the extent that we can. And so if counseling services are needed, then the foundation will step in and provide those. We also have other support programs in place that all families participate in. So every child is matched with a mentor, which is an adult community volunteer who wants to be engaged with a young person and help them achieve their goals. And so we fully screen these mentors. It's like applying for a job. It includes an application and a background check and reference checks to make sure that they're good people who are engaged for the right reasons. And so every scholar is given that opportunity to have an adult mentor help them and their parents along this journey as well. So we really try to come at it from a holistic perspective and making sure that all of the support is in place, because the expectations are high in terms of the kids doing their work and staying engaged in our activities. And then for the parent piece, we know that you work hard, we know that you're busy, we know there are a finite number of hours in a day. And so our expectations around engagement and involvement are primarily around communication. So that if we reach out to you with a question or we need to meet with you, we work around schedules. Everyone's busy. And so we just want to make sure that communication piece is in place. And we do fun activities too. We have a potluck at the beginning of every school year where every challenge family comes together and we just have a meal together. And so we want parents to participate in those sorts of things as much as possible.
Great. And let's talk about any kind of limitations or specifics. Are there income guidelines, and what are those?
The guidelines change a little bit every year. We use the guidelines that are used in the state of Arizona for the corporate tax credit, which is like speaking Greek, probably. The income levels are actually relatively high, all things considered, and it is based on the number of folks that make up a family. And so it increases, obviously, with the size of the family. Generally speaking, I want to say the number this year, for a family of 4, the income ceiling was probably somewhere between 60 and 65,000.
Okay. So as a general.
As a general guideline. So.
Great. So that kind of helps you just have an idea of who's a good candidate income-wise.
Yeah. We do also get try to get some information from, if the child's in a public school, which they typically are before they come to us, free and reduced lunch qualification is a good indication as well. If your family is eligible for free lunch or reduced cost lunch through the public school, then generally you're probably going to fall into our guidelines as well.
Great. That's an easy indicator.
Yeah.
Anything else that you want to let people know? What about anybody or any of the parents who might be Spanish speaking only? Is that okay? Are there communication considerations there?
We welcome families who speak Spanish primarily because we speak Spanish. So any families who English isn't their first language, if Spanish happens to be their first language, all 3 staff on staff at Challenge Foundation speak Spanish, and so we can communicate with families using their native language.
It's amazing.
It is, yeah. We've studied lots to try to make that happen. And we have one staff member who's lived abroad for a year, and so her Spanish is much better than mine. But I still study hard. It's about effort. And then any other language, we would obviously just try to work around, but. Yes, the staff at Challenge Foundation can all speak Spanish conversationally. So
wonderful.
Yeah.
And then any other considerations or final thoughts? What are things that parents can do if they have children who are younger, maybe just starting school? What can they do? You guys have been around for a long time. You've been doing this for a long time. And the program is going to be around for a long time. So what can people do to prepare their child, or, somebody is saying, well, I maybe have a kindergartner or a second grader, we're not there yet.
Sure.
What can they do now?
I would encourage you to read with your child. Reading is an invaluable tool and is something that is assessed for any number of scholarship programs, including ours. And so to take the time to make sure your child is reading, read with your child, and ask questions. Educators universally want engaged parents. And so if you're curious about what your child is learning in school, engage with their teacher and ask. There are lots of resources out there, and if you run into one wall trying to find a resource, go down another path. Just keep working at it. There are a number of resources available, so keep at it. And I think reading is the best.
Read.
Yes, read. Just read.
Perfect. Is there anything else that you want to leave us with today, as far as information about the Challenge Foundation? How can people get involved? How can you get involved? You can contact me, and I will reach out to Pam.
Yes.
But if you're interested, you can find my email below, and I will put you in touch or answer any questions that I can before sending you over to Pam.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your interest, and keep going.
November 1st, hopefully we can send out to a reminder email
Sure.
that applications are open, and we can get some of you applying for your kids.
Yes.
Okay.
Love to meet you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Bye.